work begins with silence and paper. A thick sheet of A3 paper is my reliable foundation. It is not afraid of an eraser and holds its shape even under the pressure of a confident hand. I chose a classic pencil, HB2. Why exactly this one? It gives a soft but precise line that can be easily lightened or cleaned with an eraser without damaging the structure of the paper. First, the composition. The seated girl is the center of the scene, which means the first thing I do is lightly outline the oval of the head. This is the anchor of the entire structure. Next, the axis of the body, the position of the shoulders and pelvis. It is important not to rush here, because the pose is not simple. The legs are tucked in, the arms are raised, and everything must be balanced. Even a slight shift will give a feeling of unnaturalness. I build the contours of the body with simple forms. Cylinders for the arms and legs, trapezoids for the torso. The smoothness of the line creates a feeling of relaxation and liveliness. The face is a special area. The girl looks with a slight smile and her eyes are directed at the viewer. They should hold contact, be a point of attraction. Hands are raised in the gesture of greeting or joy. Here I deliberately do not overload the fingers with details, but I watch their anatomy and expressiveness. Movement is no less important than the form. I applied the details of the girl's clothes with a confident line, smoothly, without unnecessary rigidity. The chest line, the curve of the back, the folds, everything is subordinated to plasticity. This stage requires concentration. It is here that it is easy to overdo it. I built the background after the figure. The trees in the background are conventional, almost decorative. The house and the staircase with the arch create perspective, while remaining background. The lines here are a little graphic, so as not to argue with the softness of the figure. In the foreground, I added a simple element, a flower. It creates an accent, completes the composition, and seems to invite the viewer to enter the space of the drawing. The work was carried out with the constant use of an eraser, not to correct mistakes, but as a tool for clarifying thoughts. I am not afraid to erase. On the contrary, through the eraser, precision is born. Work on this composition began not with a usual pencil sketch, but immediately with a brush and color. I decided to immerse myself in spontaneity, to let the paint lead me. This gives a special liveliness, an element of surprise and boldness of the brushstroke. Acrylic paint was used, one of the most convenient and versatile materials, especially for those who like to work quickly at a pace without losing momentum. Acrylic gives a rich color and dries quickly, which means it allows you to layer details without waiting for the work to rest. Ordinary water was used as a solvent. It is enough to control the thickness of the paint and the smoothness of the transitions. Format: thick A3 paper. This is enough space to reveal the figure and the environment, but at the same time you do not spray on unnecessary things. The surface of the paper must be dense to withstand the wet load of acrylic. Otherwise, the paint can go in waves and spoil the overall impression. 2 brushes were used in the work, thin and medium. The medium brush number 8 allowed to set the base, background fill in large shapes, boundaries of space and body, but the thin brush number 1 was used later. It emphasized facial expressions, facial features, details of jewelry, floral patterns, glare elements, and contour lines. Working with a thin brush requires patience and precision. It is like a scalpel blade in the hands of a surgeon. First, the background was applied. A violet blue starry sky outside the window with abstract cosmic formations. The space of the room is intentionally painted in contrasting warm tones, scarlet, orange, burgundy, so that the girl's figure jumps out into the foreground. The heroine of the composition is a smiling girl in a relaxed pose, with an open expression on her face. She's wearing a pink top and black shorts, accented by a necklace with a butterfly. This is not just jewelry, it is a symbol. The butterfly is like a transition, like lightness, like inner freedom. The hands are raised up. The gesture can be interpreted as a moment of joy, greeting, or self-expression. I deliberately left room for interpretation. It is important for the viewer to think, feel, and enter into a dialogue with the work. This is the purpose of painting. Light and shadow were created not academically, but expressively, through color. Yellow and orange skin tones, emphasized by a black contour line, add stylization and poster-like expressiveness. This is closer to naive art, where emotion is more important than anatomical accuracy. The composition is integral, but full of details. Little things, like a bracelet on the wrist, a candle in the arch, flowers on the carpet. All this creates the taste of the painting, makes it lived in, alive. I was striving not for photorealism, but for a colorful story, for a visual history. When creating such a work, it is important not to be afraid of bright colors and bold decisions. Acrylic is a material that loves confidence. Work with your heart, don't chase academic correctness, look for your truth, and remember, every stroke is not just paint, but a trace of your inner state. Critical analysis of the painting, color and expression. The palette is bright, saturated, neon pink, sunny yellow, ultramarine background, scarlet walls. All this works to uplift the emotions. The painting lives, breathes like a child's dream, filled with fantasy and absurdity. This is the strength of style, a sense of naive art with elements of surrealism. The author is not afraid of color, and this already speaks of pictorial boldness. Energy of the figure. The girl in the center is joyful, open, as if in a moment of carefree play or delight. Her gestures, raised arms, slight asymmetry of the body, add naturalness to the movement. She is not static, she's present. Details with an idea. The decoration on the chest, the flowers on the carpet, the candle in the arch. All these are small semantic markers. They are not just to fill the space. For example, a butterfly is a universal symbol of the soul, transformation. She emphasizes that this is not just a girl, but a certain image, possibly a metaphor. Weaknesses and what could be improved? The composition is slightly overloaded. The eye wanders between the windows, stars, rocks, candles, carpet, face, hands, decoration, and does not always keep up with the author's thought. Advice: leave some air. The artist could enhance the expressiveness by reducing the number of distracting elements in the background and strengthening the central accent. Background and perspective. The walls and furniture are painted in a flat projection without a hint of perspective. This may be a conscious technique, but then it requires stylistic discipline. If the space is conventional, it should be conventional everywhere. And now we see a certain mixture. The character is painted expressively and in volume, and the background is like a decoration. The role of the background, especially the window with stones and stars, raises questions. What is it? Space? An abstract landscape? The underwater world? There is a lack of definition, or at least a visual hint. If this is a metaphor, it is not revealed in the other elements. Advice: either simplify or enhance the symbolism. Skin color. The heroine's yellow skin is an expressive but dangerous decision. In isolation, it looks bright, but in combination with pink and black, it looks cartoonish, almost like a comic book character. This is not bad in itself, but then the style should be consistently comic. And now the figure falls out of the general mood of the picture. Perhaps a flesh or olive tone would give more softness. Facial expression. The smile is wide, the eyes are large, but the asymmetry of the facial features can be perceived as accidental, not intentional. At the same time, the emotional message is friendly, open. Advice: if grotesque, then accentuated. If realism, clarify the features. What can be added? Shadow and light. Even in naive painting, light can lead the composition. By adding simple shadows under the feet and hands, the author could have strengthened the figure in space. Semantic coherence. Flowers, a butterfly, a candle are great symbols, but they are not united into a story. Perhaps a flashlight in the hand, a look at the candle, or a butterfly in the air would have added narrative. Style and emotions. The style of the work is naive, with elements of expression, possibly influenced by fauvism. This is not realism and not abstraction. This is a child's view of an adult. Such painting can be compared with outsider art, or with the works of Henri Rousseau. Sincerity is important in this style, and it is here. Emotionally, the picture evokes a smile, a warm feeling. There is no aggression in it. It is like a fairy tale without a plot. Bright, a little naive, but kind. Conclusion. The work requires revision in the area of composition and background, but has a strong emotional presentation and an expressive central figure. If the artist continues to develop this style, with an emphasis on symbolism, simplification of secondary elements, and construction of light, he will be able to create truly powerful and lively canvases.